I realized people in the YouTube videos, a lot of people are starting to use V. Okay, well, one person starts it, the trend starts it, nobody owns the V. The V is for public consumption. Okay, so with that being said, that was the primary basis off of what I was going to do on YouTube. Tracilyn, also known as VCat. You know, I never really took it into consideration myself that could start an outbreak of a whole lot of people doing things with their name and nickname and, you know, something to do with VCat, and using more of the peace sign over and over again as kind of like their thing. Well, this is what I've realized. In the process of it, these people were trying to get me to take down all my YouTube information. They were trying to get me to shut down my Facebook. They've been blocking me. I can't have viewers of 1 million. I cannot have 50,000 subscribers to my channel because YouTube and Facebook is not real. They control everything on their end, which means if they don't want you to be noticed by the general public, they will not let you be noticed by the general public. How does somebody go from making 35 or 30, 27 to 30 some thousand subscribers to now only having 85 subscribers? Because I took everything down that I put up starting in 2012. In June 27th, 2012 in New Jersey, I started with the first video, a New Jersey song that I wrote. And I continued, and I have all of that content. The second you record it in digital format, it is now copyrighted material. Everything that you do, your name, you can prove in the court of law that you use that name. You have entitlement to that name. Nobody else can use it. Legally. By law of the land of America. I realized all the ideas that I was starting to put out there in content over the years, including the songs I wrote, people in mainstream were synchronizing everything with it. And I'll tell you what, I think they really love to rub it in your face. Their hope is to rid you. They like to play head games. They use you as a resource, and then they carry on. I'm not saying about YouTube people. I'm talking about mainstream. The Stephen C. Johnson guy, he likes to see people fight, like YouTubers fighting stuff. I don't want to fight YouTubers. I'm not about fight. But here's the thing. I realized when I started putting my stuff back up that these people were never going to leave me alone, so I didn't shut down my Facebook. I did shut down my YouTube, both of them. And then I said, what the hell? If you guys are not going to leave me alone and you're going to keep harassing me, I'm putting my stuff back up. I'm not going anywhere. I already heard when I was in Delaware that a person by the name of John is very evil. I don't know what was meant by that. I do know that I met a guy by the name of John in Cincinnati, face to face. I do know that I heard some songs that were very similar in connection, like a conversation with the songs I wrote. I also saw that this same person put a spear through a heart, and it was captured in video or on Facebook. The image was captured that I acknowledged the art to his album was very relative to a lot of the stuff, including bandage, a soldier, and a spear or whatever, a sword through a heart, was their album cover, okay? Is that right, wrong, or indifferent? What do you think? Now, these are people that I have been reaching out to, not necessarily them specifically, but I've reached out to people in the music and entertainment industry. Why would somebody with my talent and ability be constantly shammed and pushed to the side? I'll tell you why, because most of what they do in the entertainment industry is fake. It's also very crooked. With that being said, they see somebody like me as not being intelligently aware about the fact that it's all fake, a lot of it. That mysterious record deal that never comes along as you reach out to people, the publishing contract to get other people to sing your songs. Don't waste your time going to Nashville hoping that you're going to cross paths with somebody who's going to be a blessing in your life, and get you signed to a major record deal or publishing deal. Know that you are most likely better off to write your own songs, publish your own songs, and record them and just simply be the recording artist that's inside of you. Why? Because it's really technically not hard to do. You just need a support system to get you through it. That's it. And continue to have a support system that's in favor of it. With that being said, I realized that the same people that used to be on my posters in my bedroom now had the illusion, at least, of appearance that they were either A, conversating with my songs, which were basically a perception of my life journey, and the ideas that I've had, the content that I put out, that a lot of the things, including the 50s, including somebody who is an artist amongst the youth, also wore a diaper on stage. Now that may sound funny to you, but notice that a lot of this stuff did not come to pass until I first released everything in 2012. In other words, they're always looking for ways to be hip in the crowd of the masses, okay? Whatever's on the lookout, whatever's coming their way, they look for trends and the way they go. Is that right, wrong, or indifferent? I say it's all right when your content gets put out, but it's not all right if they have access to invading your privacy. What do you think? Do you think it should be okay for people in mainstream industry of any kind, whether it's political, religious, or it is in music or movies and stuff? Do you think it should be okay for them to invade our privacy, for corporations to invade our privacy for recipes? How do you think it's being done? When I started to put my stuff up, coincidentally, I typed in VCAT, and I seen that there was this adorable little girl. She's so adorable. I do not know if she's trans or not, but she called herself a name, and because she's young, I will not mention it. She called herself her name. I don't know if it's a username or if it's real, and she put VCAT after it. Well, I used to go Tracilyn VCAT in my YouTube. Now I just went Tracilyn because I was trademarking my name, and I wanted to make sure that it went through. Okay? Technically, I should trademark VCAT as well. Okay, I have first use of it my way as a nickname that I'm aware of, but there could be other people who've done it too. You have to prove that in court if it's that necessary, but I know how I got the name, and I could prove it, and my story's the same, and it'll never change, and I have evidence that I've been using it since I've been using it. Now, here's the thing. But I did trademark Tracilyn because I've learned how the entertainment industry is. As soon as you come out and you start using a name or something, your identity, they take your identity. The mainstreamers, they would take your identity and they create something from that. I met more people that their names were actually being used by other people in mainstream industry. Their names, their style of music, their appearance. And I've realized that they don't necessarily want the person like Tracilyn, but they sure will take all the ideas and the identity from them, especially during the times that the LGBT community is making a serious stand for marriage equality, for equality, period. Listen to some of my songs, and you tell me when you hear some of the recording artists, listen to their songs. Know that I started really writing my songs in 2010. I released them on YouTube in 2012. If during that time up to 2014, 2015, you hear a lot of stuff connection to that, don't be surprised if a few handful of people from the mainstream industry didn't conversate with that, whether they got it privacy invaded or not, or when it was released. The bottom line is they did, and when they did that, it starts an outbreak all over the United States, maybe even the world. Okay? In other words, you got the ice bucket, somebody first did it, now other people are doing it too. And who's the first one to do the ice bucket? Nobody knows. Who's the first one to do the peace sign? Nobody knows. Who's the first one to do, the rock and roll sign? Who takes credit for it? Is that Ronnie James Dio? But who did it before him? Does anybody know? That gets into dance moves, that gets into wearing diapers, that gets into the way you dress your hair. I didn't see so many outbreaks of people with blonde hair and their roots growing out with dark, like brunette. I didn't see that really manifest until 2012 when the people were telling me to let my hair be natural. Next thing you know, there's an outbreak of people with their hair blonde and their roots growing out. What? It's more real in the fact that a lot of people do not dye their hair and fix every tiny little root. Some people do, but a lot of people do not. For many reasons. Now, the little girl touched my heart because I seen that she was using a name and she was using VCAT behind it. If she sees this, sweetheart, be careful about if you were exposed to anything that I've done with Tracilyn, also known as VCAT. You might want to be like somebody who goes, I'm Tracilyn, also known as VCAT. You might want to be like that person or elements within that person, if you know what I mean. You might want to be similar to what you see for whatever reason, but you don't want to copy and be exactly like that person. You want to be yourself and you want to create your own ideas of presentation. You want to be true to yourself and do what you really love to do. But for now, I seen it and my heart is touched. And I like to watch her. I actually subscribe to her channel, not to be a jerk, because she touched my heart. And if you hear this, know that I don't have 1 million subscribers. But just seeing your account with a few videos on, and that name really touched me. That's a treasure to me. It's real. And I don't want to hurt you, because if you really want to use the name, I want you to use the name. But I want you to be careful that you can create something that's within you, and you can really be your true self. And you can see your own ideas come to life. You know, it's cute to think that there'd be a lot of other kids out there going, I am so-and-so, their name, and VCAT. I'm so-and-so VCAT. I'm Tracilyn VCAT. I'm Samantha VCAT. I am Tina VCAT. In other words, the VCAT family. But is it really mentally healthy? I created a video and I said meet the VCAT family. And with it I played the different characters of people that I knew in what I kind of gave an example of what my household was kind of like. You know, and I was a little schoolgirl. I was a little older lady with a Bible, trying to tell the child in the schoolgirl outfit, you know, that she was something special and her punishment was to learn to be thankful. You know, I was the boy in the hat with the beer, with the drinking, loves to drink, and always loved to make fun of, you know, the schoolgirl. After doing my videos and stuff like that, I started realizing a little bit later on that other people were kind of doing the same thing. In other words, it was one person playing multiple characters. Okay, so that's just natural. That's starting to happen. We're all, because why? Because it's all built up inside of us. We want to be actors. We want to be actresses. We want to be rock and rollers. We want to do, some of us want to be doctors, lawyers, and all kinds of things. President, the governor, who knows? We want to be political. Whatever it is that we want to do, a pastor, I want to be a pastor, you know. We're really here to fulfill the desires of our heart, to be what we desire to be. But the thing is we want to be similar and like. We want to have likenesses that these are our childhood heroes were, but we don't want to be them. And I believe it's written in Scripture that God mentions that God will take our idols and will destroy them. And what I've realized in this process of doing this, that a lot of the people I looked up to and I idolized, God destroyed them in the fact that I acknowledged the fact that they were meeting with me on the street. Somehow, for some reason, it appeared to me that they were taking my ideas and using them for their personal gains. Well, I personally did not like that, and I can imagine that a lot of people don't like that when that happens, and because they put the pressure on them and they play games with them, like telling them lies like they're going to marry them someday, giving them hints that they love to watch them, and giving them hints that what? I like to use you to play games with my friends. In other words, these people might not intend to be evil, but they are evil, and some people end up killing themselves because of it. Not me, but other people. If you look up what they used to do to people who are speaking the truth of what's been happening to me since coming out here to Dayton, Ohio, they usually locked them up in mental institutions for life. They started letting everybody free because they're fighting for their rights about 25, 30 years ago. Now you can't, when you really need to stay in a mental hospital like I did, until you get your own needs met, they tell you we can't keep you. We're not, your insurance won't cover it. Insurance should cover it because it's a personal need. And in my opinion, insurance should cover it if the city don't want to cover it. And they should be able to walk you through and help you select a nice little apartment somewhere in your local town. And you can actually live there and get food. They want to make sure the American people are being taken care of because they love them. Fat chance, right? I know. I reached out not so long ago to somebody y'all know as Fousey. I was on YouTube and I got to see the Fousey channel. I think that's how you're Fousey or something like that. I don't know how you pronounce it. I watched him and I watched this Roman Atwood here in, I guess he resides out in Columbus, Ohio. And I watch other people's YouTube channels because I'm not into watching commercial mainstream or listening to commercialized music, the mainstream music. I love to see people who do independent work. A lot of times I watch YouTube channels like that because there's something within it that I really value and appreciate. Plus, I studied psychology, so I really like to learn from observation that way with the content that people put out for me to, for all of us to witness. It's been very therapeutic for me. With that being said, I have to say that there are some times when things happen in YouTube, whether it's somebody tearing somebody down, and that's how they get their views. It's like, what would they do if they weren't tearing people down with their views? Imagine making a YouTube channel and the way you get your views and subscribers is that you tear people down. You make fun of people. Now, what if that same channel were to all of a sudden just stop tearing people down? What would they do? And would they still have the same views and the same subscribers? I don't know, but I'll tell you what, these are things that I try to stay away from. I try to watch things with what I consider more family-oriented, and more in alignment with the way that I desire to live. Healthy food, healthy living, family, friends, you name it. I really like to see this stuff. And it also helps me psychologically because I've had a hard time. I was never taught how to have healthy relationships, the importance of compatibilities. With that being said, I also perceive things because of what I witnessed in the transsexual community. And I don't know how to take things sometimes. And, I might see somebody in a river, for instance, that I love very much with a blonde-haired wig on him. And I might be confused as to whether or not it's just a sense of humor that I should have, or if I'm actually viewing somebody who's making fun of transsexuals or cross-dressers, considering a person's not from the town that I now call my hometown. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I've been living out here since 2009, and I really came to love the Great Miami River. I wrote songs, and I'm very inspired by the life that happened and the flood, and all that other stuff. I really love Dayton, Ohio. When somebody from the outside city comes to Dayton, Ohio, maybe they have a big YouTube channel, and they end up being in the river that I love. That's wonderful to watch. Wow, that's exciting. Somebody's here and they're enjoying the river. It's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? And then they throw on a blonde-haired wig. You can only wonder, is that person merely just having fun, or are they having fun at the expense of somebody else? Because I contribute a lot of times to the reason why people neglect and are mean to the transsexual community or the LGBT community is because in commercial television like Saturday Night Live and Hee Haw and all that other stuff, people have countlessly for years cross-dressed in any manner and made like it was a sense of humor, okay? Basically, that's jokey. It's comedy material. And I gotta be honest, I look at it as cheap, cheesy comedy material. Now, I'm starting to grow. That's why my perspective is. Now, why is that? There's no reason for anybody to be upset with me. It's the way I perceive it. I see it as a psychological influence to the general masses that view that as, you know what? When I see a transsexual, I relate it to me seeing somebody dress in women's clothing and it being comedy. Now they laugh at them in public. I've been with people that have been literally laughed at by an entire department store. Was it because they view people dressing in women's clothing, turning it into more of a clown state? I don't know. I'm asking a serious question. When I see stuff like that, it makes it kind of hard for me because I am a transsexual female and I have witnessed friends that I cared about along life's journey who were devastated, hurt. Some people commit suicide because they can't handle the pressure of society's demand that they are not comedians. They are not meant to be laughed at. They are not clowns. They are real people trying to live in this world who is what? Being condemned and targeted after as being a reject. Now, when that happens in the city that you love, and in that same city you go down there as a model and you take pictures on that same rock by the same place where somebody who has quite an amazing YouTube channel, by the way, I am a subscriber and I love watching it because they have a family and it helps me psychology-wise to approve and accept in manners that I would not before. I'm learning to love and appreciate the things within a YouTube channel that maybe I would not have loved and appreciated before. I'm learning to exercise the fruits of the Spirit by forgiveness and grace. Now I go down there to the exact same place and I take a picture of myself on a rock. I'm a model in a dress. I not only have one cop come up to me and ask me what it is that I'm doing there, that some of the people are getting upset because I'm being revealing. And then another one approaches me with the same thing because there's children in the area. I'm not naked, people. I'm just being Tracilyn in a dress, modeling down by the river. I look at that as a potential of possibility that I'm being harassed and all I'm doing is exercising my rights as a United States citizen and child of God, that I have freedom to be myself. I'm conducting myself in good behavior. Now, in my opinion, rather than scolding somebody by the law enforcement for taking a picture of themselves by the river, I think that somebody should be scolded by the law officers for possibly impersonating a female or trans people as being what? Comic relief. Now, I don't want to upset anybody. Notice I'm laughing. But these are the things that go through my mind mentally, psychologically, and I try to digest and make sense of it. People are people, and usually what I found out is people who impersonate a level or degree of transgenderism by putting on wigs or dresses and stuff, they're usually closeted cross-dressers or transvestites. It could possibly be that they are living a private life of their inner self, which is pretty much gender neutral. And, you know, they might be dealing with some form and level of transsexualism theirself. Usually that's the way. If you ever heard people say, I like to put on women's clothing for Halloween, it seems to be the time of year that I can be free, there could be a chance that the person that is saying that is either a cross-dresser transvestite, a drag queen, or they might be a level of transsexual, maybe even a real transsexual female in the years to come. And why am I sharing that? Because I'm sharing it because I witnessed this myself. It's who I was. It's what I was going throughout my life, the difficulties of it. And when I came out, I really wanted to stress the importance in the community at large here in America that transsexuals are not only comic relief. They are your doctors. They are your lawyers. They are your president, maybe. They are maybe your president's wife. They might be your mayor, your governor. They might be your religious leader. They may be your corporate owners. Guess what? They could be your next door neighbors, okay? And it might be somebody you're dating, somebody you're married to. And they're scared shitless, to be honest with you, about that side of their life, because most of the time when somebody's being honest about that side of their life, they lose everything. They lose subscribers, they lose views, they lose wives, they lose families, they lose houses, they lose everything. And they could end up being homeless. I've talked to doctors who told me flat out, who give surgeries, SRS surgeries, and they actually told me to be careful because they have met millionaires that they gave surgery procedures to, and they were confident that they would survive, and they ended up losing all their millions of dollars and everything that they had simply because what? What people see you identifying as is what they're convinced you are, and the life that you have is in alignment with your belief system. And if you're putting on a false front, you're gonna get a false life. When you start to live a life in truth, the illusion of life that you once had goes away. It's the laws of God. Because the life we have on the outside is based off of our belief system in our mind. Our outside life is a reflection of who we are in our heads. And if we're hiding very important stuff that society cannot handle, they will neglect and what? Say, I didn't know. What did my whole family say? What did my family say? We know you as a male. You're a man. You are not a woman. And I said, guess what? I identify as female my whole life, only we haven't been taught right that identity is where it starts. And that's why our school system distracts us, to keep us from our own identities. We don't know who we are. Now we grow up and we don't want to be fighters, but sometimes it ends up that we end up catfighting over the stupidest shit. I don't want to be sucked into it. Personally, I remember sitting there and watching that video, and I thought to myself, I don't ever want to see that son of a bitch down in the river again with a wig on, unless he's really transgendered and he has the balls to tell the rest of his viewers that he is trans or a cross-dresser. Why is that? Because there's a lot of people who lose lives in the transgender community, and a lot of it is because of the perception of the general public looking at them as freak shows. because of shows like Saturday Night Live, because of Hee Haw, where guys dress up in women's clothing or put a wig on and they turn it into a sense of humor. People think it's funny, then they laugh at everybody else who can't live in the closet. I don't want to put ideas in anybody's head, but gruesome stuff happens to transsexual females. So I wanted to show people that what? We are also professional people. We can run businesses. We are rock stars. We are actors and actresses. We're political people. We're lovers. We can be great intimate partners. We can be your best friend. Somebody who would stand with you and go through hell with you. Now I'm running out of battery again. We want to get down to this. In all honesty, I watched Fousey a few times. I'm not a huge fan of Fousey. It's not, don't take anything personal. I'm just not. There's people that I like to watch on YouTube, and there's people that I don't really, I just watch and I don't even know why. I unsubscribe and I'm not really interested. It's not my kind of thing. It's okay, it's like turning the channel. You can watch what you want and not watch what you want. I stopped watching Jerry Springer when everybody else was watching Jerry Springer because I didn't like the way that it was dramatic. And as I became a transsexual female acknowledger, meaning I'm a female, and I'm in transitional from male to female in a worldly sense, but I've always been the same thing. I'm always me. Here's the thing. I realized, not all the time, but more so than not, it was other cross-dressers or trans people going on, outing themselves and then pulling the wigs off of each other. Listen, not all transsexuals all the time are like that. We're human. We like to love. Some of us don't wear wigs. You can't pull my hair off, okay? My breasts are real. I'm not making fun of anybody. I never wore fake breasts my whole life. I think I put in a cup that my girlfriend gave me once and I said, this isn't me, I can't do it, I want to be real. No offense to other people. That's me. Okay? I'm sorry if it hurts you. I'm being honest with my getting myself together. I want to be myself. I'm not looking to really customize myself. It's challenging as a transsexual female. You got to meet a high demand of a society that's been programmed by people who want us fighting all the time. All you need to do is accept yourself. If you're a transsexual female, please. The whole book of the Holy Bible is personal acceptance. Learn to accept yourself, your true identity. It's in your mind. That's what causes your pain and suffering. You do not have to butcher yourself to fit into society's expectation of what a male or female should be. It's an illusion. We've been taught what a male and female should be. It doesn't mean it's true. Please don't mutilate yourself. Do what you really want to do, but do it with the right mindset. Don't do it so you're accepted by others. If you accept yourself as you are, then you walk into your office and you say, what? We got to make these papers right. I identify as female, according to my psychologist. Straighten out my birth certificate, state of Ohio. Pennsylvania followed suit. Guess what? The doctor fucked up and smacked me on the ass, said I was a boy. I went into Pennsylvania birth certificate office. I said, I have papers here that say I identify as female. My goddamn doctor made a mistake by declaring what I was before I could have my little mind developed. And by the way, the school system didn't help me to develop it. It kept me lost in confusion and agreement with a jackass who didn't know anything about me the day I was born. If you're still alive today, you're an asshole. You shouldn't tell people what they are. You should be intelligent enough to know we gotta wait and figure things out. This kid will surely give us signs and tell us who it is. It'll show us who it is. Now, I realized way back when, here's two things with Fusi, is I put up a tiger, and I put my website on it, and I said I don't know if it was all forms of music, where all forms of music or something like that become one. And it was a tiger growling. I'm into cat. I'm VCat. I did trademark search. There is an alcoholic beverage with the V-cat. Cat cannot legally be a trademarked name for this reason. Anybody can trademark it. It is a common household name. Cat. Cat. That's why you have many K-A-T, K-A-T-T, C-A-T. There's all kinds of cats. Everybody's a cat. In blues, it was a common name that you're a crazy cat. You're a blues cat. You're a cat. Okay? Spelled many different ways. Now here's the thing. Uniqueness is great. I didn't call myself that. When I was down in Memphis, Tennessee, I was dancing on the walls of Graceland, playing my guitar, singing to Elvis. Okay? A man of color, an elderly man who was funny. He was drunk. He staggered by and he said something to me and I laughed and I said something to him and he said, "You're a crazy cat." And he kept on walking. From there on out, I called myself the Memphis Cat. Okay? But I wanted to be the cat in my hometown, wherever that was. And next thing you know, I started to consider calling myself the Dayton Cat, Ohio Cat. I'm the cat. I growl like one. I like to wear cat costumes. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to wear cat costumes. I finally wore my first cat costume in Dayton, Ohio in 2012 when I did street performances. I wanted to do it ever since I was probably 7 years old. But because the way the laws are of people amongst the human race, if I were to put on the girl's outfit, I would be beat up, maybe killed. Who knows what they would do to me? I'm not afraid anymore, American people. I'll wear whatever the fuck I want. And you're gonna learn to deal with it, okay? Get over yourselves. People just want to live and be free. Have fun. Not everybody wants to have fun. Some people want to have a lot of fun. And by the way, I get accepted quite warmly here in Dayton. So when I wear a cat outfit or I do whatever, I make people laugh. I'm a natural entertainer, people. It's what I love to do. Lift your spirits. I realized that in Fusi's channel at some point, the only way we could prove this is by the very first dated publishing mark that he had, meaning in a video or in audio, that he used the growling at the end of his program. I saw that a couple times and I thought to myself, I wonder if he actually got that when he was watching any of my videos. I don't know if he did, but did he? I don't know. But guess what? It's very similar. It's not identical. Similarities, that's all. The only way you could tell that is I published a video and it has the date and time on that video that it was first done. The uploads vary because I took everything down, but that doesn't mean that any content I put up with my name and my music and stuff on it, that doesn't mean that I still don't own legally in the United States of America the first use of that content, which entitles me the use of the content, my name, my music, etc., etc. And gives me all kinds of entitlements, especially if you get into trademarking things and copywriting things. I'm not here to discuss all that right now, but I think it's important that people study the copyright laws and they study the trademark laws if they're going to be in the entertainment industry, because it could lead to lawsuits where people actually lose all of their hard-earned investments. That would be a shame for anybody, for myself, for anybody. That's why I try to be very careful not to take any inspiration from people's today. It's very important that you don't watch people's stuff today and start using their ideas, because if you do, it could lead into legal issues in the court of law. And if that gets out publicly, and let's face it, people like myself would actually use that, and we'd use the camera to go into the court of law. Can we videotape it? Why is that? Because everything nowadays is being outed. We shouldn't fight against each other, but we should be aware that when we start to watch things, we fall into agreement with it, and it's in our head, consciously or unknown consciously in our subconscious. We may start using other people's material, the V, the letter V, the whatever. We've seen it once, we were exposed to it, nobody owns it really. But now we're kind of imitating everybody else in our generation. The truth of the matter is, that's what ends up happening, and that's what causes all kinds of trends, and everybody's kind of feeding off each other in the now. But most people that have become usually feed off inspiration throughout their life journey, and then they stop there at the point that they decide to start writing, start recording, start inventing themselves, start their own creations, because now they're not taking from anybody in today. They have received the inspiration to function together in their mind. The creation of today is from the inspiration of life's journey up until that point. We call that you give birth to a creation by using your five senses as you go through your life journey. You're inspired. Those are seeds that are planted inside your brain. Your brain functions like a computer. Now your own ideas manifest, and it's always best once you acknowledge, oh shoot, so this is how it comes together. Some of these people might come back and sue me. We don't want that to happen. So we try to be as pure and natural as possible and say, God, please don't let me take anything from anybody else. Let's keep this as pure and natural as possible. They were inspiration, but I don't want to do a duplication. Now, if we're watching here what everybody else is doing, because the way the brain works, we could accidentally be taking their ideas and applying it to our life, or we could be doing it on purpose. But if it's proven in the court of law, we could also be sued by the person who acknowledges things are being taken from their content. It doesn't matter how small they are. If I upload one video with a song on it and it gets one view by me and there's no subscribers, but somebody else comes along and their view too, and they take that song and use it, and they have 10 million subscribers and 50, 100,000 views, I can sue them and prove in the court of law that they took it from me. Guess what? They don't want that getting out publicly, okay? It could destroy everything they worked hard on their whole life. Now here's the thing. I told you about the VCAT family that I released. Many people did the family thing, one entertainer, you're doing all the parts. It's fun and entertainment to watch. I was sharing my life story. I honestly was not watching other people. I was so saturated in myself. But I realized people in mainstream were taking ideas that I was doing. Miley Cyrus wearing a diaper in concert did not happen until after Tracilyn, also known as Diaper Girl and VCAT, and Blind Frog Millie, Blind Frog Silly, came to be about. Okay? I was in Las Vegas when I walked into a pizza parlor and I saw on television Miley Cyrus dancing in a diaper. I also know that she has shot a lot of 50s videos. Well, guess what? I considered myself a 50s girl. I even had a license plate that said 50s girl on it. I am a true 50s person. I have pictures of Elvis Jr. I'm a huge fan of Elvis Presley and the 50s. The $1 Million Quartet. Okay? I kind of felt like the possibility that maybe the Cyrus family was using me as a resource to establish her career. I'm not saying that they did that. I'm saying it sure does kind of resemble that when you're standing in a club or in a pizza place and you see that. And you realize you were a 50s person basically your whole life inside. I'm fans of Dirty Dancing, Grease. Okay? I love the 50s very much. I wrote a song about it. I want to get lost in the 50s, Ragtop Cadillac. And I'll tell you, sometimes I wonder if Elvis Enterprise does not want me to sing about my love for the 50s and Elvis Presley. Maybe the music industry wanted somebody like Miley Cyrus to sing the song. Who knows? But rest assured, they don't want Tracilyn to benefit from it, most likely. And don't be surprised if they wouldn't want to have Tracilyn killed. So they could take all of Tracilyn's song, and maybe not them. I'm not saying anyone specific, but they could use the song in years to come. Ragtop Cadillac, whether you believe it or not, is a major hit song which could generate millions and millions, maybe even some would say billions of dollars when utilized correctly in the music industry. And when you watch and you listen to my video, Ragtop Cadillac, just because it only has 200 views does not mean that in time, millions and millions of people are going to be singing that song because they heard it on a radio or they saw it in a movie or a commercial on the radio or in television. The biggest mistake we can make is assuming that because something has 1 or 2 hits or subscribers does not mean, let me tell you something, that doesn't mean it's not going to be something. You can laugh at it. Laugh at somebody who has only a couple subscribers and views, but know this, I had the most successful musical business in the town that I was from. And most people I knew were in the nationwide, national touring acts. They did not make as much money as I did, and they did not have as much success as I did. I was in television commercials. I was on radio shows, AM and FM. People were paying to have my music on the radio for Christmas. I was in newspapers, and guess what? I never had a YouTube channel. And guess what? I don't like people taking my fucking ideas. I think that there's something psychologically wrong with somebody who does that. It's called they're not in tune with their self because all ideas come from God and their life journey up until they start a business. Once they start a business in the entertainment industry, now they have to be careful not to step on other people's fucking toes. In other words, I don't want to take another YouTube creator's idea and apply it into mine. Because it'll be very fucking obvious they're taking my ideas. Or I'm taking their ideas. I don't want to do that. So I say, Lord, please help me not to do that. We're going to end it with this. I saw the other day, about a week ago, and I might have seen a couple months prior to that all of a sudden this Fousey now has the cat family. And his face is kind of in front of the cat. And he has I don't know if his last name really is anything to do with cat. I don't know that. I wanted to know that. I would like to know that. Is his name Cat at all, legally? On his birth certificate, was he born into something cat family? Because I never met anyone like that. I would like to know the legal realms of that. Why is that? Well, Cat, you don't have to worry about, is actually K-A-T or K-A-T-T or C-A-T or C-A-T-T. There's many different ways to spell it. If you look it up in the trademark search office, you can put VCAT in and it'll show up with Tracilyn, which means there's a legal documentation in Washington, D.C. that says I am known as Tracilyn VCAT. In class 41, which is entertainment, and it's in class 009, which is for audio sound recordings and sales and downloadable material. And if I have just one song, or if I just have use of that name on one social media, I don't need to legally even be in DC. I chose to do it because I know it entitles me to legal law rights that says if somebody's using my material, I can sue the fucking shit out of them. In other words, I don't have to be popular to have life. You can get rich many different ways. Some people steal people's shit and other people acknowledge they're being stolen from, and then they sue them in court and take everything they own. Some people think that's the kind of person I am, but I'm not. I just simply don't like people using my ideas if they're in a very successful business similar to mine. It's not friendly. It's a competitive world, and I believe if you don't have originality, in my opinion, you should be very careful of it. The most important thing is to be as true to yourself as possible, be original, and therefore all the goodness that comes along with that, your life, money, notoriety, friendships, relationships of all kinds, opportunities, are favorable to who you are in truth. When you start taking other people's ideas and basing your life off of that, you start having an artificial life, no matter if you want to accept it or not. I'm a psychologist. I studied psychology for years. By law, I should be licensed as a psychologist. I'm more intelligent than any psychologist I met with the favor of one, who diagnosed me within 20 minutes what's going on. I'm learning as I study psychology he was right the whole time. Very intelligent, Oriental person. I think he was Japanese. Now here's the thing. They are very intelligent. Japanese people are very intelligent. They raise their children to be intelligent. Americans, I don't want to hurt anybody's feeling, but we have been raised to an American school system that doesn't want us to be intelligent. If you're going to be in the entertainment industry, people, listen to me. Learn the laws, because you could potentially be sued and you could lose everything in one lawsuit. It depends what that lawsuit was about. Consider this. Be original, trademark your name in DC, and copyright all of your material. Why is that? Well, by law, it's already done the day you publish it. Okay? So it depends on how far you want to get involved in it. You don't have to do it. It's recommended. I did it because it entitles me to more rights and it gives me more power to sue people who use my shit. Thank you, America, for making some laws that are in favor of creators. People who are original do not want their little livelihood taken from them all the time. For instance, if I find out somebody's using my Ragtop Cadillac song or any of my songs, I can prove in the court of law that I wrote that song, and I will take that person to court, present my copyrights with a lawyer, and I will present the whole birthing of that song from the day I wrote it, including a video of the restaurant I was in that inspired me to write the song. I wasn't watching somebody's YouTube channel being inspired by their content. I was being inspired by content that was presented in a public atmosphere by people who once were considered to be the greatest of the great. Nevertheless, I'm going to close with this. I just simply wrote to find out when this cat family thing started, because I was sooner or later going to expand possibly on VCAT and either have a FEGAT. I don't want to do fans because I like family-oriented things. So I was thinking of doing something with little VCATs. Now, if somebody were to do something with little VCATs in class 41 or 009 in the entertainment business, I could sue them because that's my livelihood in the making. Just because I'm not using it right now doesn't mean I can't sue people because I already did use it and I want to expand on it. The laws are there to protect, like a baby being born. We need to protect the baby. We do that by registering our copyrighted material. We date, we timestamp it, we keep records of it. If somebody comes along during the early years of a song, for instance, before it's recorded with a band, and it's mastered, and it's made on an album and released to the general public, guess what? You copyright your song, and if any idiot comes along who does not know that that song's copyrighted and they use your song, you can sue them for the monies that they made off of that. You are entitled to a percentage In some cases, when you copyrighted, you're entitled to 100% of it. Meaning, they became your labor, they became your bitch. According to law. With this being said, I've realized the complications that can be. I'm still going to continue on as me. Most people are aware and intelligent. They don't want to take other creators' content, especially artists, because it can lead to serious lawsuits. And rather than spending time in a courtroom, most people want to be busy doing their art, doing their creativity. Very few people want to go to a courtroom, have lawyers and the stress involved in fighting and any potential losses. You got to pay lawyers. Why should we pay lawyers thousands and thousands of dollars to go to a courtroom and fight? It's ridiculous. See, that's what people like Steven, who's invading my privacy, likes to do. He wants to keep the people in the entertainment industry tied up in lawsuits and stuff. I don't want to do that. So I'm sending out this message. Please, if you're a YouTuber with a serious channel, you're in the public domain, and you desire to be there, do not steal content from me. If you do, I am going to sue you in the court of law, and I am going to go public with it and humiliate you. And there's nothing you can do about it because I know how to talk. I am not assuming anybody took anything from me. I am just simply making a statement because I care. Now, I ended up coming across this and I saw the cat family mixed with the tiger and maybe a few other things, and I said, it's too close for comfort. Maybe I inspired, maybe not. Maybe the Steven guy and his friends are playing Satan with everybody's mind to try to create something different than what we desire to create. And maybe they're like with me, what they started doing like with Adam the Woo. In the beginning, they tried to lead me to him here in Ohio. They came up to me and they were mentioning about giving me little subtle hints, and I learned by watching Adam the Woo's channel that they were describing him. He's a bass player. Okay? They were trying to lead me to him, lead me to California. Well, I reached out to Adam the Woo several times. He never replied to any of my messages. I gotta use the bathroom. And then we're gonna finish this up and I'm out of here. Okay, so anyway, I wanna finish this up. I don't ever wanna really talk about this stuff ever again. I'm really hoping, my hope is this. I'm working on moving, relocating to somewhere that I can have some kind of life, like real life, and hopefully be involved in the community using my talents as a recording artist and just somebody who has heart. I don't have a direction just yet. I gotta put it all together. I gotta figure things out. All I know is I really want to relocate. Now, to end things up here, if I pissed anybody off with a YouTube channel or whatever, know that I could talk forever about this. I don't want to piss anybody off, but if I piss you off, then I piss you off. There's something wrong with you. I'm not pissed. I've been targeted and attacked by people after going down to Nashville. It became very recognized that people in the music industry were using me as a resource. And in my opinion, they were trying to lead me into pretty awkward predicaments. Okay, I was an adult entertainer. This is somebody who had to survive by means that most people would never make it. Okay, a lot of people don't make it. I'm a survivor. I want to continue to do things with my music. The goal is to hopefully play theaters and go on tour. Now, to wrap things up with things like Adam the Woo, I'm telling you right now, people were coming up to me and trying to lead me into a relationship with Adam the Woo. Okay? They invade our privacies, they watch us via satellite or however they do, and then they try to lead us into relationships for whatever reason. Sometimes it might be to argue and fight amongst ourselves, and sometimes, and I'm not into that. I don't like drama. And sometimes they lead us together so that we can, they have some kind of agenda and they're trying to orchestrate people together to do things, okay? Whether it's to fight or whether it's to do a project, whatever the deal is. They have an agenda. And that becomes dangerous when somebody wants to use your life like that. It's not very pleasing. I don't like people trying to set me up with people. I didn't need Stephen C. Johnson to tell me to go play bar rooms. I already played bar rooms successfully for 7.5 years, and I made a very comfortable living at it. I was very well known. I never understood why wasn't I getting signed to a record deal or receiving a publishing contract when I was reaching out to numerous people within the industry. In my opinion, what I've concluded with is the fact that most of it is an illusion. Most people are lying about things. They're not living a true life in the light. I'm called to live life of truth. I think we're all called to live life of truth, and only a few of us really have the strength to make the choice, and have the strength to continue on. Some people, they make the choice and they can continue on. You need a support group. Emotionally support is a big one. And you need intelligence. Falling into agreement with other teachers' perspective has not been a good choice for me. It kept me in the trenches. It introduced to me a situation that I found myself in as a little kid, knowing that I could do something about it, but if I did, I would be penalized for it, and who knows what could happen to me in the process of it. Okay? This is why I will be talking to Joyce Myers and Joel Osteen and other church leaders that I have fell under their teachings. I don't ever want to talk about the YouTube thing again. The thing is what I'm going to leave off with is I did reach out to the Cat family in an email. I was curious to know precisely at what date and time did he start using the Cat family. Because I do have a video that was posted again a second time after it was posted probably 2012 to 2013 with the VCat family. I was just curious, along with the tiger and some other things, just if he was, by any means, feeding inspiration off of viewing my content, to please excuse himself from doing so. In my opinion, it's not cool to be in this generation observing other people's content and then using ideas based off of that. I really do think that the best inspiration comes from God, and it comes from our own life journey. The truth as to what we desire to do with our heart is what we should be doing. Whenever we start doing things for view counts, subscriptions, popularity, we end up probably losing ourselves some. I would say I did it. I know all about gaining the acceptance of masses. I'm not looking for that. I'm gaining acceptance of myself on a day-to-day basis. So, I'm sorry if Fusi's upset because I made this video, but I'm not upset if it's doing something within himself to acknowledge that there could have been a possibility. It might not have been on purpose. It may have been by accident. Give people the benefit of the doubt is what I've always said. I wish him the best in his endeavors because of this reason. I first started watching the Fusi channel because he was very positive. He's like a motivator. He's inspirational. He's good looking. He went through a season of time where he kind of was in a depressed state and left himself in a physical sense go. Okay, we all been there. And being that he's very positive and uplifting and wanting to to speak, and he can speak in front of people, he's like a motivational speaker to me, or so he was during the season I was watching it, and I really admired that in him. And I think that it would be great if he continues on in doing that. And by far, know this, if you made it to this part of the video, I don't want to be the one to say anything bad about Fusi or anybody else. I'm just pointing out as a viewer this is what I'm viewing. If it is true, then this is my feelings on that and my thoughts. And if it's not true, then know that, see how this is happening for somebody who is a viewer. If it's not true, it's not true. If it is, it is. But anyway, I never got a reply back, and there's nothing I could legally really do. I guess I'd have to have a hell of an attorney, because cat is a generalized word. Okay? Now, do I necessarily ever in the future, would I like to take those ideas as far as VCat family? I don't know. But I know I don't want to be a copycat by any means. And the little girl who has been using VCat, we are family. And I don't know if, are you trans? If you are, I hope you find your true inner self and you're not trying to be like anyone else. And I hope you have emotional support and you're loved greatly. With that being said, know that I love you from this way, this distance, on the other side of the camera. And everybody I've been watching on YouTube has been inspirational to me in a psychological means. I've been learning a lot. I think officially I am done. One other thing I would like to add is CareSource is a health insurance company or an insurance company here in Dayton, Ohio. I know it is. I don't know where they're based out of. I do not know the history, nor do I really care to do the research right now. Out of all the health insurance policies I ever had, CareSource was one of my favorite. I really valued and appreciated having CareSource in a time of need. For some reason, Medicare or Medicaid programs or governmental programs to help people in need, they don't tend to all of our needs. They only tend to what they agree is necessity. And can I tell you, leaders of the country, you piss me off because of that. You don't tell me what I need. I tell you what I need, and you see to it that the needs get met. That's how it works. Because everything on this planet is God's. And anybody knows that read the scripture, that everything was given to his one and only Son. And anybody who believes in his one and only Son, equally, not portionately, all is given. Meaning, all the resources of this earth are meant to be shared amongst the human race. And good leaders would make it possible, they wouldn't make it impossible. When a child, period, a human being has needs, the leader's position is to see to it that those needs can be met. No bitterness. The bottom line is see to it that they're met. Okay, so I like CareSource for that. And I'm finding out there's other ways to go about doing things, but here's the thing. I'm a resident of Montgomery County in Dayton, Ohio, and I never received a letter that they were going to be expanding CareSource facilities, buildings all over the inner city of Dayton, which means it looks to me that Dayton is becoming less Dayton and it's becoming more of a CareSource building. I'm sure a lot of people see that. I don't want to be mean to you, CareSource, because I might be doing business with you in the future, but here's the thing. Check this out. Yeah, I might. Now check this out. Have you ever thought of just making one big tower in Dayton instead of spreading yourself out all over the city? That's number one. We want you in the city. I'm sure it's beneficial in many ways. But know that I never got a letter to go to a city council meeting, and which means probably none of my neighbors did, which means most of the city wasn't notified that you were just going to move in and do your own thing. I think that's important that the people of people in America, they realize that you're entitled to know when a corporation's coming into the city and taking it over, no matter how you look at it. Even places like Walmart and stuff, when they want to put a Walmart up, It's best interest of its citizens that in the location it's putting it up, that people be notified and they have the right to voice their opinion on the matter. Because of the effect that it has on the city as an entirety. So, something to think about. Again, I love CareSource. When I saw it, I was kind of disappointed. Why? I don't know what I'd like to see in the city of Dayton, but something tells me I'd like to see something that really makes me smile. The river makes me smile. Very much. I love the river, and I love the bridge lights. So, God is teaching me to focus on the things of Dayton that I really love, and I'll fall in love with Dayton. But sometimes I wonder, how does CareSource get up and I never was notified or nobody talked about it to me? I'm a citizen. I should know what's going on in my city at all times. Doesn't matter if I'm poor or if I'm rich. I have a voice, and I'm also a child of the Most High, which means I'm a person of royalty. And anybody who knows that and understands, they get it. I'm intelligent. And intelligence appreciates the respect that it is. So, honor each other, love each other. I am Tracilyn. I am also known as VCat. I don't want to upset anybody with anything I said, but let me tell you something. I don't know why these people were trying to set me up with Adam, but I'm telling you they were. They like to orchestrate relationships. They believe in setting up relationships rather than you doing the godly thing, which is getting in alignment in your heart, being honest first, getting things straightened out in your life, and then going about life and allowing relationships to develop through your own choices of the kind of people you will hang around, knowing your boundaries of when you would hang around them. For instance, I smoke on occasion. I've been trying to quit. I've been doing pretty good. When I get stressed out, I do smoke. I hate that part of me. When I'm around other people who smoke, it's okay. If we're outside, it doesn't bug me as much. I already had a friend over the other night at my apartment, and I said, what? Can't smoke in the apartment, sweetheart. Did they like that? No. But they weren't mean about it. But the truth of the matter is they didn't like it. Well, I don't like myself smoking in my apartment. So we're going to have to go outside. Okay? It's knowing boundaries in your relationships. Doesn't mean you don't love people because they do certain things. It means you got to have your boundaries for the better interest of that relationship to keep it together. And I realize it takes me time to develop and understand boundaries between people. When I was living with people in an unhealthy home environment, it took me approximately 3 months to start to learn relationship boundaries, and then we would be separated whether I had to move or they had to move. It was not a stable place to live. It was more like living on a quicksand foundation. I have a home that I consider to be more now of a concrete. I love living there. I love having my own apartment. I love the apartment. I don't like the location. Number one, it's not conducive for the kind of life I would like to live. But because I have needs artistically to record and write songs, do videos, I do art. It's therapy for me. I don't like to take medications because I've realized the pharmaceutical companies are basically killing me whenever I take their medication. It's not helping my problems. I've been having problems with my sinuses, for instance, for nearly 3 years, maybe even years longer than that, and I've tried just about everything. Nothing works, but I get serious side effects from taking their medication, which is bizarre. Anything from hair loss to sores in my mouth, you fucking name it. It adds to depression and all kinds of things. Be careful of what medication you're taking. Be aware that there may be a lot of side effects that are screwing you up and taking you closer to death than it is breathing life into you. Okay? I love you guys, and I'm going to share more of my life in time. I don't want to talk about Stephen C. Johnson anymore. I don't want to talk about the fact that I was a fan of Bon Jovi and all this other stuff and the things that I perceived. Okay? When I was on the streets, I shared with you everything as true as I possibly could. I'm ready to start living my life and getting it together, hopefully in a healthy manner, that I can continue to stay focused on my music, and maybe someday I'll get to tour and play theaters. And I'll be with a bunch of people that really have a heart for people and want to provide a healthy environment for family-oriented people. I have a lot of ideas that I don't want to share because I'm sure they'd be taken. But I know I would love to connect with energetic people who want to do something like similar. The only thing I'll say is similar to like a mega church experience. Not leaving God out of it. Keeping the love in it. That's the important thing. This is the greatest rock and roll worship leader in our generation. Signing off.